The second I learned about Sasha Reed, I couldn't stand the deception. For a single second, I demanded a divorce on the spot. Ethan locked himself in the study and chain-smoked for half the day. When he finally emerged, he tried to reason with me.
Sasha's sworn off marriage. She'll never threaten what we have.
Disgusted, I slapped him hard across the face.
It's just meaningless physical attraction, a casual damblish. What's the big deal? Can you stop overreacting?
He slammed the front door and stormed out right after. That night, I somehow connected on video with a version of myself 10 years into the future. On the screen, she looked utterly worn out, her eye sockets sunken and hollow.
Jenna, I've walked the path where you divorce him the second you find out he's unfaithful. Let me tell you this, too much rigidity leads to collapse. Love isn't everything in life. Don't devote all your love to men. Learn to use them. You can get divorced, just not right now.
The woman on the video bore my exact face, yet she looked so broken and haggard, I could barely recognize her, staring at her. My throat tightened painfully. I've always been stubborn and proud. The second all ties with Ethan frayed, only one thought raced through my mind. I married to build a better life, and I'd divorce for the same reason. No second guessing, no dragging my feet. I've never been the type to linger in a losing situation, but every wrinkle on that future version of me screamed one brutal truth: I'd ended up miserable. I drew a shaky breath, forcing my chaotic emotions under control, and asked the question weighing heaviest on my heart.
How's Rainey? Did she get into Berkeley?
She never kept learning the violin.
I froze in shock. Our daughter Rainey was only 7, yet her natural talent was undeniable. Her private coach had told me straight she was a once-in-a-generation prodigy. Every day after school, she'd rush straight to her violin. We'd have to beg her to put it down for dinner. Her biggest dream was to become a concert violinist, to play for me on the golden stage of the Musikverein. There was no logical reason she'd give it all up.
How much do you pay for her violin lessons per hour right now?
$600.
See? Just this single expense costs over $100,000 a year. Elite master classes and university audition tutoring add another huge sum. Even 10 years from now, my salary as a lab researcher is barely over $10,000 a month.
What about Ethan? Rainsy is his daughter too. Didn't he help at all?
She shook her head, a bitter smile pulling deeper, the lines etched into her cheeks.
When we split, Sasha panicked we'd still have contact, so she pressured Ethan to pay all child support in one lump sum up front. Later, whenever Ethan came to visit Rainey, Sasha tagged along, loitering downstairs, yelling snide insults loud enough for our daughter to hear. I couldn't bear Rainey overhearing that cruelty, so I told him not to come anymore.
She paused, her tone dull with grief.
A few years later, they had a son of their own. Rainey hasn't laid eyes on her dad since the 4th year after the divorce.
I said nothing, a heavy stone settling tight in my chest.
I pushed for that split single-handedly. Ethan fought it tooth and nail, dragging his feet on dividing our assets to punish me. I was desperate to escape. I only walked away with this house. Still, I refused to let Rainey abandon her violin dream. I scraped by to fund her training until she turned 14.
What happened then?
My throat went dry.
We had to sell the house. The housing market crashed hard and we lost over $100,000 on the sale.
Panic shot through me, and I cut her off instinctively.
Was the money from the sale to cover Rainey's music tuition?
Her eyes welled with tears.
Dad got diagnosed with late-stage cancer.
My mind went blank for a beat. Right now, he's in perfect health. He goes to the park for exercise every dawn without fail.
It happened 3 years after the divorce. He hated burdening me, juggling a full-time job and raising Rainey alone, so he hid all his symptoms until the cancer metastasized everywhere.
A lump clogged my windpipe, and it took all my strength to force out a quiet question.
Is Dad still there?
He passed away over a year ago.
My breath caught completely.
The night Rainey found out Grandpa was sick, he locked her violin back in its case and told me she wasn't taking another lesson. She wanted every spare baller to go towards his treatment. No amount of arguing changed her mind. She hasn't touched a violin since that day.
So within 8 short years of my reckless choice to end the marriage, my daughter's lifelong dream shattered, and my father was gone forever. A brutal, crushing ache squeezed my heart, leaving me gasping for air. I was about to speak when the screen flickered violently, cutting the signal dead. A strange number popped up seconds later. The instant the display lit up, Sasha's face crashed straight into my line of sight without warning. She leaned lazily against Ethan's chest, her makeup flawless, the outer corners of her eyes lifted slightly, wearing a casual, unrestrained grin. Ethan wrapped one arm around her waist, his chin resting in the crook of her shoulder, his features soft, with a relaxation I hadn't seen on him in ages.
Your wife really fits every stereotype I have of a bookworm.
Sasha drawled, thick with mockery.
Stuffy, dull, rigid as a board. Are you actually going through with divorcing her?
Ethan let out a low, lazy hum in response. Sasha chuckled softly.
What am I going to do then? I've never planned to marry you, and I'm a die-hard child-free person. I hate the chains of domestic life more than anything. I'm only here for romantic moonlit trints, not slogging through mundane daily chores with you.
As she spoke, her fingertips tapped idly at the back of Ethan's hand.
Someone's gonna end up without a wife or kid all because of me.
Before she could finish the sentence, Ethan dipped his head and sealed her lips with his. The frame froze on that exact moment. I stared rigidly at the screen, my stomach churning so violently, a wave of nausea burned up my throat, threatening to make me throw up right then and there. Once the screen went dark, I sat alone in the pitch black for a very long time. The first thing I did once I'd calmed down was ask around, to dig up everything there was to know about Sasha. Word came back fast. She was 3 years older than me, a pharmaceutical sales manager at Ethan's business partner's firm, a decade into her career. She'd taken top sales honors every single year, renowned across the industry. For her relentless drive and grit, a line she repeated constantly was,
"I've got money and looks. Why would I trap myself in a marriage to suffer?"
People dubbed her the thorny wild rose. Countless young junior women at their company admired her, praising her for living a clear-eyed, liberated life, unshackled by societal norms, and looked up to her immensely. I was all but certain she'd sent that video to me on purpose. Even though she had no intention of marrying Ethan, that didn't stop her from relishing the sense of superiority that came outshining me, his lawful wife, in every way. So the next time I got through to my 10 years later self, I cut straight to the chase.
"You said they had a son, but Sasha swears she's anti-marriage?"
She let out a scoff.
Sasha was 33 when Ethan and I got divorced. That whole anti-marriage spose she spouted only lasted another 2 years after that. Once she hit 35, she was hit hard by age anxiety. She'd lived it up to the hive in her youth, yet as the years ticked by, she craved the warmth of a family. She turned right around, married Ethan, and gave birth to their son the following year.